Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Business Bar. In today's episode, what we're going to be doing is talking about how to increase your work ethic whilst making a delicious espresso martini. So the first thing you want to do when you are making an espresso martini is, of course, chill your martini glasses. This is just going to allow the drink to be much nicer when you are drinking it. So when you want to increase your work ethic, the first tip that I do have for you is that you have to know your why behind what it is that you are trying to deploy the ethic in. If you don't know specifically why you are doing a task, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be motivated to continually work on it. Now, this is something that I speak about regularly, knowing your why with your purpose in life, with your business, with the goals that you have. But you can apply this to every individual task that you need to complete that needs work. So whether it be working out, whether it be the work that you have to do in your job, or whether it be the work that you're doing on your passion or your business. Regardless of what it is, each and every single task can have a why behind it. Now, what you've got to do is make sure you have an emotional connection to that why. It's not enough just to say, I want to be healthy and that's why I want to work out. Maybe if you did have big dreams of, becoming a thought leader or having a successful business, your why behind working out might be to gain a lot more energy so that you could travel the world and do speaking and write books and all of this amazing stuff. Maybe you're still in your 9-to-5 job and you are doing all of the tasks that you need to do and you want some more work ethic because you're just not feeling passionate about it. Maybe you can get a little bit more grateful around the fact that the job that you have is providing you resources to build your dreams. And you know why you need to continue with this job because you need the money so that you can, make the impact that you desire to have. So each and every single task that you need to do, make sure you have a strong why behind it because you'll find it a lot easier to get things done then. So for this espresso martini, what we're going to be using today is this Finnish vodka, which is absolutely delicious. Some coffee liqueur, I am going for Kahlua today. Some espresso, and I have just got an espresso out of my Nespresso machine, and then we will be using some sugar syrup as well. Now this is optional, but I love it. I actually make it out of nat beer. Healthy tip. So my second piece of advice is that you want to make sure you are training your brain to focus. And the best way that you can do this is through meditation. The whole idea behind meditation is that you're able to bring your thoughts back and focus on the task at hand. Now, during meditation, that usually is breathing. You're trying to concentrate on the breath to avoid the mind wandering off to get lost in thought. You can do the same when you are trying to work harder at things. The more you meditate, the more you train your brain to not get so distracted, to not want to jump on social media and scroll through for absolutely no reason, to not want to go downstairs and jump onto Netflix, or even just to start the task in the beginning at all. If you train your brain to be more focused through meditation and through bringing the thoughts back regularly, it's like strengthening that muscle in the gym. The more you do it, the better you're going to be at being focused. And the more focused you are when you are trying to complete a task and the less distracted, the less things that you're thinking about, the easier it's going to be to get tasks done, and therefore your work ethic is increased because you are doing tasks in a lot more fluid motion. So for the espresso martini, I'm actually making two today, one for you and one for me. And basically I'm just going to be using 2 shots of vodka, so that are 30 ml shots each. I'm going to use the same amount, so it's pretty much for an espresso martini, equal parts of the vodka, the coffee liqueur, and the coffee itself, the espresso itself. So the next piece of advice that I do have is you need to understand discipline depletion. We as human beings only have so much discipline each and every single day. Think of it like your discipline is reset when you go to sleep at night. Our body replenishes overnight, and so does our mind. And think of your discipline like a gas tank. Each and every single day, the more you use it, the less gas is going to be in that tank, the more it's going to deplete. And what this actually means for your work ethic is that you need to be trying to get those really hard tasks done, the ones that are, making you not have such a great work ethic. You need to try get those done earlier on in the day so that when that discipline is full, you can have it to complete that task. Now, another tip on this is making sure that you are, where possible, reducing all of the other minute details and decisions that you do need to make. So whether that be getting yourself prepared the night before, doing your to-do list the night before, meal prepping, preparing your outfit the night before, anything that you can do to mitigate the decisions that you have to make in the morning, then the more of that gas in that discipline tank you're going to have to be putting towards those tasks. Now, some people do work better at night. It seems like their discipline tank refills throughout the day, and that's absolutely fine. You need to deploy a little bit of self-awareness here and know the times of day for you where your discipline tank is most full. So do a little bit of testing, try working in the morning, try working in the evening. For most of us, for the large percentage of the population, our discipline tanks are most full in the morning. So that is when we're going to be able to get the hardest tasks done. And in your mind as well, put a little bit of a reward ethic in here. So if you know you can get those really hard tasks done in the morning, give yourself a little bit of luxury in the afternoon to maybe do something that makes you happy as well. So you know that you're training your brain for that reward also. Now, the thing with an espresso martini is it's not just like any other cocktail. You really need to put a lot of work into it. See what I did there? But yeah, an espresso martini really needs to be shaken for an extra amount of time in comparison to other cocktails, and you really need to put some muscle into it so that you can get that nice froth on the top. Now, my next tip is that you really want to get comfortable with the feeling of being uncomfortable. What I actually mean by this is generally the reason why we think things are so hard to do, getting this work done, finishing that assignment, working on that project, filming the video, recording the podcast, all the things that we need to do, the stuff that we're actually procrastinating on. The reason why we're procrastinating, along with fear, that plays a huge part in it. But another reason why we're procrastinating is just because we've made these stories up about the task being hard. We ourselves have conditioned ourselves to think that the task is going to be hard. You don't actually think sitting there watching Netflix is hard. I'm sure if someone told you that there was $1 million waiting for you at the airport, driving in your car frantically, you wouldn't think was hard, because the reward at the end makes that story not hard. So a lot of the time, it's just because we've attached these stories to these tasks around the way that it's going to make us feel. So if you get comfortable with that feeling of feeling a little bit uncomfortable, over time that story itself is going to start fading away, and the task just becomes another task. If you start to not focus so much on the fact that it's hard, or that it's going to take a lot of effort or a lot of time, if you just start creating a different story around that task, then your ability to actually go and complete that task becomes a lot stronger. Your story around that task just becomes that it's just another task. It's one that it's easy for you to do. And then my last piece of advice for how you can increase your work ethic is to train your brain to commit to the decisions that you make. And what I mean by this is, if you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it, each and every single time that happens, you're actually training your brain, you're strengthening the neurotransmitters in your brain that connects a decision with it not being done. So each and every single time you do that, the behavior is increased, the behavior is more cemented, and you're actually training yourself to not do things that you tell yourself you're going to do. So what you want to do is you want to train your brain to commit to the decisions that you make. So if you say, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to complete this project, I'm going to get this job done, this video, this podcast, this course, this business, if you say that you're going to do all of these things and then you actually do them, each and every single time that happens, you become a person who does stuff, and then therefore your work ethic is increased because you're training yourself to get things done. Whereas obviously on the contrary, every time you don't do the things, you become a person who doesn't get things done. So start with something small, even if it's just the simple, I'm gonna wake up on time and not hitting that snooze button. I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning and actually putting those runners on. I'm gonna make my bed in the morning, and actually pulling up those sheets. Start with small things and work your way up, but train yourself to become somebody who gets things done and that commits to the decisions that they've made. So those are just my tips for how you can increase your work ethic. They're just the ones that have worked for me. I'd really love to hear from you. If you have anything to add to the table here, then please do leave them in the comments below. If you've got any other advice for everyone watching on how you can increase your work ethic so that you can get more tasks done. That is it from me. I'm going to now enjoy this delicious espresso martini. Obviously, you saw the work that went into that. It's obviously worth it at the end of the day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.